Let's get bold, Heat fans. On today's show, I have 5 bold predictions for the Miami Heat in this upcoming season. Now, some of them may be player related and how I expect some players to perform. Some may be how I feel like the season is going to unfold. Either way, it is going to be a very fun show on today's episode of the Heat Report. I am Nic Rohloff. And the first bold prediction I have, and the fifth one on my list, Kevin Love doesn't play a lot. I really don't feel as if the big man is going to play a pivotal role for the Miami Heat actually on the basketball court. And I don't think the Heat intend on him doing that either, especially after they drafted Khalil Ware with the 15th overall pick. Kevin Love's backup center role is kind of being pushed to the wayside. And Love was good last year. There's no denying that he played a key piece in Miami's success last year, if you want to say they even had any success. He was actually a really capable backup center, and if we're going to be honest, it's sad to say this out loud, but over the past 5 years since Adebayo and Jimmy Butler joined forces, Kevin Love might be the best backup center they have had. I think he's better than Thomas Bryant. I think he's better than Dwayne Dedmon, better than Cody Zeller, and better than Myers Leonard. That's how impactful he was. He was good on the glass, and he was able to knock down some threes as well, spacing the floor. But the reason why I believe that he will not be able to really see a lot of game action this upcoming year is because what we witnessed at the end of last season and in that playoff series against the Boston Celtics. He was unplayable on the defensive end of the floor. Now, Spo would try to go sometimes to a Love Adebayo big lineup to try to match the Celtics size, but in the final couple weeks of the year, man, like it was tough to see Kevin Love go out there and just get torched on the glass, torched in the defensive side. Like it wasn't a pretty thing to lay our eyes on, that's for sure. And I just kind of feel like this season he's going to play the Udonis Haslem role more than any actually role on the court. And I think that's perfectly fine. They gave him a 2-year contract this offseason. I think they like his veteran locker room presence. I do as well. He seems to really have a calming effect on this basketball team, which is a good thing. You need those type of guys on your team. I just think with Khalil Ware coming aboard, Nikola Jovic taking another step, that you're really just going to see a big trio of Jovic, Bam, and Khalil Ware working in unison, but also sometimes go small ball with Haywood Highsmith or Hawkes at the 4. So I don't really think Kevin Love will see that much playing time. Injuries will obviously have him take the court, but when you talk about the main 10 to 12 player rotation for the Heat, I think Kevin Love is either the last player or not going to play at all. I got 4 more bold predictions for the Miami Heat, though. I want to know your biggest bold prediction. I got 5, but I want you to think of your number 1 bold prediction and let me know down in the comment section. All right, my second bold prediction here. The Heat are going to be the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done and we head into late April basketball in the postseason. I am a little bit high on the Heat, and I actually think they're going to have a much better season than some people think. And yeah, I know it's bold to say they got going to be the 5th seed. That's why this is a bold prediction video. When you think of how stacked the Eastern Conference is, I really do believe that the top 3, unless a catastrophic injury happens to 2 or 3 of those teams, the Celtics, Sixers, and Knicks, in some lineup, like I don't know which way it's going to go, but those 3 are going to be the top 3 teams in the East without a doubt, in my opinion. And when you really think of the rest of the Eastern Conference, the Pacers, the Magic, Miami, Milwaukee, Cleveland, like I don't think there's any team out of those 5 I just named that are like clear-cut better than the others. I think there's going to be a lot of jockeying this year, and I honestly think the 4 through 8 in the Eastern Conference could be separated by, 1.5, 2 games when it's all said and done. That's how tight I believe this is going to be. And then if Miami is able to keep Bam, Jimmy, Tyler healthy, Bam is arguably the most important player to keep healthy because of his impact inside and on the defensive end of the floor. But if Tyler Herro and Jimmy Butler are able to put together healthy seasons that Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley have challenged them to do going back to the end of the season press conference, and they're able to play 65 games apiece. So you're getting those 3 playing together for at least 65 games. I think they're going to be able to finish above the Indiana Pacers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic. I do think Milwaukee might end up getting that 4 seed because Damon, Giannis, Middleton, they're going to come back looking ready to go. But if the Heat are healthy and they're able to keep their good players on the court and not have them missing games so much like they did last year, I think they're going to end up being the 5 seed. It's a little bit of a bold prediction for me. All right, make sure you hit that sub button. We're about to cross 13,500 subscribers, which means we are just 500 away from 14K. We need to get there before training camp begins on October 1st. We got a month and a half to do it. I think we can get there. 500 subscribers in 6 weeks. Let's do it. Number 3, Bam Adebayo shoots 37% from 3. Now, this one is an intriguing one, and we've talked a lot about on the channel about his three-point progression and how he is kind of evolutionizing his game into being a scorer and a threat from all three levels on the basketball court to really complement his defensive ability. And last season, we saw Bam really start to stretch out and take more three-pointers in the final 20 games of the season. This is what Bam ended up doing from 3 last year. He shot 50% from the right corner on 6 attempts, to 42.9% from the right wing. Most of his three-point attempts came from the top of the key, where he shot 33.3%. And he didn't really take any shots from the left side of the floor, 1 of 5 total, coming out to 20%. But I'll say this, I do think his shot form looks good. And it looks smooth. It doesn't look like there's a hitch in it or anything like that. And when you think about all of the support and confidence he was given from Team USA, like the teammates, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, all of those guys were hyping up Bam. Bam seemed to be someone that was close with everybody on the team. They call him Bamante and stuff like that. I think all of that work with the best players in the world, top 15, top 10, top 5 players in the NBA, will increase his confidence enough for him to be willing to take 3.5 three-pointers a game for the Miami Heat. And I believe that he can make 1.5, 1.4, 1.7 per game. So if he's shooting 1.6 for 3.3 or something like that, that's going to be very, very good for the Miami Heat. It will be monumental for his progression to the next level. All right, number 2, Terry Rozier or Tyler Herro becomes the 6th man. And we've talked a lot on the channel over the past week or so on how I don't believe Herro and Rozier can start together for the Miami Heat in the backcourt due to defensive inefficiencies, their inability to finish at the restricted area and at the rim, both being subpar finishers, and that's being nice, both under league average by 6% and 9% respectively. But I just don't think they can play together long-term in that backcourt. 2 undersized guards that don't play a lot of defense, can't finish at the rim. It's concerning, and I think the Heat would be better off staggering them and having one on the court at all times. Now, it's going to be difficult to do that, and yes, there will be some crossing of those 2 guys playing together, but I do feel as if it would benefit Miami to kind of stagger their minutes and have one start and one be a 6th man. The proof is in the pudding. I mentioned the defensive rating for each guy. I mentioned the inability to finish at the rim. But when they did play together just last year, their offensive rating was okay, but the defensive rating was so bad, and it was a net rating of -3. It was not good when those 2 played together last year, although it is a very limited sample size because it seemed like one of them was always hurt and they could never actually play together. I hope I am wrong. I do. I want to be proven wrong by Terry Rozier and Tyler Herro, but it is my biggest fear for this Miami Heat team that backcourt just won't work. So I really do hope they end up proving me wrong, and I look back in 5 months and be like, wow, what an idiot I was. There's nothing that I want to be more than look like an idiot for having this take, but it's just how I see it right now. All right, one more bold prediction here, but listen, we mentioned Team USA and Bam Adebayo a little bit earlier. If you want to celebrate the Team USA bringing home the gold medal in the Paris Olympics, this shirt is still available at chatsports.com/Team USA. You got all the heads of the players that made it happen. Eric Spoelstra also coached. Bam's in the top right, if you see there, if you're wearing the shirt. Top left, if you're looking at the picture straight on. Get your Team USA shirts today, chatsports.com/Team USA. All right, last one. Jimmy Butler has a career year as a member of the Miami Heat. I'm not talking career year for his entire NBA career. I'm just talking right now in the last 5 years for Miami. His 6th year will be his best. And I do think contract year Jimmy will be a thing. I have always made the joke that if I was an NBA GM or someone that was building an NBA roster, I would just simply always have players on contract years on my team because when they are in a contract year, they always play much harder and they play much better. And it's hilarious that it happens so consistently. It makes sense. You got to really ball out in your final year so you can get a higher payday in the following off season. And with Jimmy Butler having a player option next year, and it kind of feels like he's going to opt out of that to get a 2-year Supermax extension, Jimmy Butler, to me, will give it his all for the Miami Heat this year. You see what he's done in the regular season over the last 4 years. This doesn't account for his first year in Miami in 2019-2020. But one thing that is very consistent in his last 4 years, not being able to play more than 65 games and not averaging more than 23 points per game. Well, I'll give you a bold prediction. Not only did I say I think he'll have his best season in the regular season as a member of the Miami Heat, but I'll give you exact numbers. I think he's going to play 65 games in the regular season for the first time in a Miami Heat uniform. 21-22, he came close with 64 games played, but I believe he's going to give you 65 games this season, and I do think he's going to average 24 points per game. I also believe that Jimmy Butler will be an all-star this year. I also believe that if he plays 65 games, meets the criteria of enough games played to be on all-NBA teams, he will be an all-NBA player because he'll average 24. He'll give you that two-way ability, steals, clutch moments, the whole 9 yards. Contract year Jimmy will be a thing. I think he's going to have a big season and be on the All-NBA and All-Star teams. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're bringing you content every single day for your Miami Heat. News, rumors, segments like this, it doesn't matter. We're getting closer and closer to watch parties returning in October as well. So hit that sub button and keep us locked in for the Miami Heat coverage you need.